Welcome to the CFB Dynasty Podcast with hosts Matt Knowles and Brian McElfresh.
No Matt Knowles today, actually. That's a lie. It's just Doug and I here talking DFS, injury updates, and start sit. Quick little Saturday morning hangout to get some morning vibes going here for the first full week, first full slate of Saturday. Man, how you doing this morning?
Oh, man, I'm great, dude. I'm excited for all things college football Saturdays. Maybe not as much after seeing the openings for College Game Day this morning, but man, you know I love food. I'm excited for finger foods. I'm excited for just getting together with buddies and watching some games. I'm stoked. I'm ready for I've been ready for this for months.
I'm glad you're good. I've been ready for months too, but I'm in wounded duck mode already after the Florida game, to be honest. It was such a letdown. I was just sitting in silence alone on the couch, and it kind of sucks. If it was some random, whatever, Purdue versus Vanderbilt game, like it would have been fine for me, but or the hype and the excitement would still be there, but certainly wind out of the sails a little bit, and that game was brutal as a Florida fan. So
tough for sure.
So much just sloppiness on the
yeah
field there.
That's what I was gonna say. Just overall, in my honest opinion, Mertz didn't look horrible. The running backs didn't get the ball enough in my mind.
It's true.
When you're in the red zone and you continue to have false start penalties and just stupid penalties that continue to kill your drive. I mean, they had 3 scoring opportunities that were taken away and one 31-yard field goal that was missed. I'm like, all right, put the other kid in at this point. I'm over it.
I saw some of our friends in the industry talking about it on Twitter with other people asking about Jaquindon Jackson, because there are other running backs that didn't get the ball either. I know Jared and John Lobb were saying like the floor basically for Jaquindon Jackson was at least 100 yards and he'll catch a couple passes. And I think a lot of people thought that with Florida's defense, and he did much of nothing but disappoint fantasy owners there.
I think, I still think Jaquindon Jackson's on the rise, but pardon my pun a little bit here, but without a rising at quarterback, his rise is going to be limited. And when you put a quarterback in like Nate Johnson, who you never know, you don't know what to expect from that freshman, and he likes to run, and he's obviously fast as junk. It just takes away from the running backs in general. Michael Bernard looked fine with his 7
really
carries.
Good, man. He's explosive.
He's strong. But, Jaquindon Jackson, 5 carries for 15 yards. Not what you would expect, even on a yards per carry average from him.
So we're going to keep this quick, upbeat, fast-paced offense here, kind of tempo. So we're going to get right through some injuries really quick. So as you're kind of looking to set your lineup, as you're looking to maximize the DFS play, the latest news that we have, so we'll go through real quick. Cade McNamara, he is set to play today, which is a little bit of a surprise, but he's listed as probable, so that's one to kind of watch. Casey Filkins, Stanford running back, returns week 1. He played. E.J. Smith played. Man, a great game for Urasek for Stanford there.
For sure.
Moving up the tight end board. No letdown season for him.
No.
Miami running backs looked good. Jay Allen
they all looked pretty good.
Fletcher looked good.
They played Miami of Ohio, but
right. As a Gator fan, it made me think, man, it would have been nice to have that warm-up game so that we can put all our number 3s on the field at once and kind of have a penalty that doesn't affect the outcome of a game as much.
Yeah, and keeping on with the news, McCaskill, if he plays today, he's listed as a potential 3-way at running back for Colorado, which could affect all of their DFS, fantasy, all that stuff. Because you don't know who's going to play there.
I'm not putting anybody in for Colorado. I want to
No.
see how that kind of plays out.
And for me, some of the biggest news is Michael Trigg for Ole Miss and Prescorn for Ole Miss. Both tight ends are out. Prescorn's expected
Wow.
to get foot surgery, which will put him out for 3 weeks. And Trigg apparently got in trouble. So we don't know how long Trigg's out. But
and we also don't know who the quarterback's going to be.
don't know who the quarterback is. And I have no idea who their tight end 3 is at this point. So
yeah, so I'd play Judkins for Ole Miss. That's probably about it this week, depending on the size of the league. Elijah Arroyo didn't play last night for Miami. That was a little bit of a surprise. I know he was kind of hopeful to play week 1. People thought he would play. He was listed number 1 on the depth chart for that game from Miami and didn't end up playing. Noah Kim, Michigan State, will start week 1 at quarterback.
Looked pretty good last night.
Yep, he was good. Tez Walker still waiting. There's like this week there's supposed to be a final decision on his appeal, and we'll see how that goes.
I've seen some funny comments, and it's like, just play him anyway. What are they gonna do? Like, it's crazy to me, you know, because from my experiences and what I know is you usually get 1 transfer and you're eligible. He's transferred once and he's not eligible. You got kids that have transferred 2, 3 times that are playing. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Jalen Daniels didn't play, and that's one I know that bit you a little bit.
Hurt me.
But it's if you were on the Discord and missed it, like we did have a couple of the guys call that out, which is great. That's part of the Discord. That's part of the community. We appreciate what we're building there. It honestly, and it's felt kind of lame last year because we had just started it like a week before the season, so it was kind of like a back alley in the middle of the night with not a lot of comments other than just, you know, me and a couple people. But now it's great, man. People are in there talking back and forth, and it's fun. But anyways,
so talking about things that hurt me, or things that, you know, maybe hurt us in general. So those of you that know Brian and Uncle Joe, they love to go back and forth. And, you know, Brian made a comment about, oh, yes, Uncle Joe started a guy that's going to get 0 points this week or whatever. Then all of a sudden this receiver appears in the second half, which I've never seen before.
Never seen either.
I didn't see him at all anywhere, like sideline or anything in the first half. Then all of a sudden the second half, boop, there he is. I'm like, where did this guy come from? I mean, he only got 3 points or whatever, but it was just, I didn't see him at all anywhere. And then all of a sudden there he was. It was weird.
It was weird. It reminded me of, you know, those unspoken suspensions that happen week 1, where it's like a player suspended for a half, player suspended for a week. And you can't, Fantrax, you have to turn that functionality on, but it is an option to turn on where you have auto subs for players that don't play, which he did play. So Joe ended up getting 3 points, but it's fine with me.
Yeah.
I really need a bounce back to beat Uncle Joe after that really depressing Thursday night. But one injury that did happen during that game, breakout tight end Jalen Conyers did not finish the game. So he was in street clothes in the second half, and that really stinks for him. Jalen Milroe, we can go right to we can flip over to the Discord, and I'll throw it up on the screen because we do have some questions in there.
Yep.
And one of them involves Milroe. So I'll take this Milroe question, and you can
have it, buddy. I know you love it.
You can get to the rest. So let's see. And I have lost my place like a moron.
You lost the Milroe question, huh?
So, because I want to give credit to the guy that asked about Milroe. All right, here we go. Sir Mocha. Kind of makes me think of heading to Starbucks a little bit.
I'm thinking about a coffee at this point. Thanks, buddy.
Right. Yesterday, a little after midnight. Any value in picking up Milroe with the official announcement that he's Bama's quarterback 1? So this is the one that I'll take. Doug, you've got the rest, but this announcement does not mean that he's going to be the starter in the second half, in the second quarter, in the second game as they play against Texas in week 2. But this gives him an opportunity, of course, to win and keep the job. And he's going to have certain things that he's got to do, of course, execute the offense and be not turnover prone. So he's electric, though. Like, as Alabama walks onto the field, he's probably the best athlete on the field against any team that he goes up against. And he's that good in terms of speed, power. If he can put it together at the quarterback position, he's got quarterback 1 potential for fantasy value. Like, he could be a week in, week out starter with the depth and size and talent on the O-line, the talent around him at receiver and running back. Like, Milroe has that kind of potential. Yeah, I would pick him up. I'm not saying it's going to work out, but the upside there is insane. Anything to add to that, Doug?
No, I just agree with what you said. He is starting week 1, but we've seen this already with a couple teams. We're in battles that have been in battles starting week 1, but doesn't mean we're not going to see the other guy or guys if there's more than one other person being, considered for the job. It could be similar to, the Michigan issue where one quarterback starts week 1, one quarterback starts week 2, and then they make a decision. I just don't know.
That ain't going to happen because they play Texas week 2. So I think it's legit.
If he has a good game, he's going to start.
Yeah, I think that's legit. All right, so we'll start at the top. Questions for start sit questions. Guy 1799, exactly at midnight, says, I just want to know who scores the most points.
And at this point, just follow our rankings. We're never wrong. No.
Yeah, that's a good enough answer to that question.
I think it's a tough question, honestly, in terms of all these cupcake games week 1, because you don't know where coaches' mindsets are on who's going to play half a game. If a team wants to come out and make a statement and just crush somebody, like, you just don't know. I think it's safe to assume that going with potentially a really good dual threat quarterback this week is probably a good idea. But I think, Brian, you kind of hit the nail on the head earlier with our joking comment about Ole Miss. Judkins could be the number 1 point scoring guy this week because I don't know what else Ole Miss has at this point. So,
yeah. Well, they'll I'm sure Riscano and others will get some playing time, but yeah, that one we'll see. We're gonna pick up the pace a little bit and go through the questions because I've still got all the DFS stuff to go over. We're gonna limit this to a short show here. So, Willem T, for my second wide receiver, would you go McMillan from Arizona or Wells from South Carolina, with South Carolina having the tougher matchup, but that might mean Wells would play more? So also injury concerns there for Wells, who is expected to play but hasn't had a full fall. What do you think there?
I'm going with McMillan. I think Arizona is going to distribute the ball to Cowing and McMillan every game, and I think McMillan's going to get his no matter what. Even if it's just a half, him and Cowing both in that offense have the potential to break one big pass and turn it into a touchdown. I'm going to go with McMillan.
Yeah, week one sucks for that kind of stuff because there's so much unknown. That one is so tough. I would probably, if Wells is gonna play, if you can get confirmation there, I would probably go Wells, honestly. And it's not good to have a little disagreement there because I know these lineup decisions are tough, but you probably would trust Doug's voice more than mine. So, but I would go Wells. Anyways, we're gonna move on to Benny09. What happened to Jaquindon Jackson? We've kind of already talked about that. So
I think no rising. The offense just looked different, and that the third string quarterback wanted to prove he could throw the ball.
Is there concern for you if you were a Jaquindon Jackson owner? Are you nervous now?
The one thing that makes me nervous isn't quarterback play. It's as much as the the running back room just seems to be, behind him better than I thought, honestly.
Yeah, there's two years in a row if it would be a Utah running back that disappoints,
Yep.
like highly drafted potentially Jaquindon Jackson. We'll see what's going on there. All right, all I do is win from the Discord. Here are my main start sit decisions that I'm mulling. Quarterbacks, start 2 of them. Pratt, Schrader, Gabriel.
I'm never going to say to sit Pratt.
Yeah, I agree. Agreed there. Pratt's an easy start to me.
I think Gabriel is going to come out and try to make a statement for himself. So I think I would go Pratt and Gabriel with those 3.
We're in agreement there. All right, start 3. EJ Smith, Thrash.
Whoops. They already played.
Whoops. Yeah, indeed. Jalen White, Jeremiah Hunter.
So if you started Thrash, good job, buddy. But of the other 2, I would probably go, or 3, I would have sat Smith and Hunter and probably went Thrash and Jalen White.
Yeah, Thrash is in that premium position in terms of like that specific OC, that offense.
He's the guy.
And, he's going to be in a role where he gets a huge volume of passes. And then he paired that up with 2 touchdowns. Thrash is an incredible, like every week starter pretty much for Louisville, except for, they also have a super easy schedule in the ACC. Thrash is a great pick there. So let's go to start 2. Will Shepard, Voisin, Antonio Williams, Jeremiah Hunter.
This one's easy for me.
Yeah.
Shepard and Antonio Williams.
Yeah. Antonio Williams is a little bit of a debate because I want to see how the new OC at Clemson uses the slot receiver. He has a kind of a tendency to lean towards like an X or an outside style receiver. So we'll see what his role is in the new offense, but that's a tough one there. All right, so I'm going to shift. We appreciate the questions, man. The Discord getting rolling along has been awesome. And anytime you get the chance to subscribe or like a YouTube video or comment on a YouTube video, that really helps us a lot. I'm going to show kind of what we're doing for the season, and I'm totally open to feedback in terms of where we're going for any DFS content that we did. We just did a feature on the Sporting News. We'll share that out for the Florida State LSU game. Did some player props, and it'll be a good article, but I'll share that out when we get it. So here we go. DFS. We've got our sleepers, and this is written in the tone of everyone's favorite, I think, Gus Johnson. If you don't like Gus Johnson, then I don't understand that. But anyway, so hopefully it's a fun read. If it is stupid, I just need you to let me know. But overall, people have liked it so far. So quarterbacks in terms of sleepers, and this is DraftKings values that we're talking here. Chandler Morris is a love at 6,900. I really found it difficult to set any noon lineups without him because of that value. Like, he won the starting job last year over Max Duggan, crushed it, got injured in this game last year, but had a great game. And I think he is going to tear it up as a dual threat guy. I think he's super safe. A lot of people think the minus 20 point spread in favor of TCU over Colorado at the noon kickoff is not enough. And I did bet that game too. Like, I took TCU plus the points, and I think Morris could have a killer opening game. And at 6,900, it's hard not to put him in that lineup.
For sure.
Got Michael Pratt at 8,000.
8,000 seems like a deal for him too.
It does. Like, some of these, like, these values here, especially the first few weeks, this is when I will probably put in as much money as I do all year. because it just feels off. Like I don't understand whoever's putting these values in here. Donovan Smith, starter at Houston.
I like the fourth quarterback's value here. This is
Yeah.
insane to me.
7,400 for Donovan Smith, and then Frank Harris at 7,100 is killer value, and what's going to be a really close game, and we'll go over into the points and kind of how we make these picks here in a second. At running back, Jonathan Brooks,
5,300.
5,300.
What in the world?
Dylan Johnson, the starter now at Washington, the lone running back one, is 5,200. Trey Sanders at 3,900. He's probably going to split carries there. But in a game where TCU is going to, they have a high propensity to score a ton of points in that game, you'd expect Sanders to get, 10, 12 touches at least.
Right. Even 30. Bailey, though, his counterpart, right? Is it Bailey? I believe there. No, Johnson is
John
there.
Blank, yeah.
So, I mean, they're both cheap. So.
They're both cheap. Yeah, and then we've got Ashton Genty, 4,200, Kavarian Barnes and LaDamian Webb, both at 5,600, and then Shady Clayton Johnson taking over for Tajay Spears at 5,100. So lots of great value there at running back. And then some of the ones we have at receiver, Squirrel White's 5,500. These are our sleepers, by the way.
I definitely have the last one on this list on a couple of rosters, by the way.
Me too.
He was cheap.
Yeah, Xavier Worthy is 6,600, but that's a loaded receiving core there, so be wary of that. I expect a deep shot to Worthy in the first couple of drives, or maybe 2 deep shots. We'll see. Barian Brown at 5,500, one of our top Devy prospects. I will say, like, debating in my lineup, do I go Barian Brown or do I go with like Jordan Curley? It was tough to sit Barian Brown in my CFF lineup in the home league, but I have him sitting now, but he's still great value at 5,500. Cobbs at 5,400, Bradley at 6,300, and then Cephas, like with status up in the air. For Clark, Zachary Franklin is gone. Cephas should be the lone returning, top wide receiver at UTSA for the first game. That's insane value there for him. And then Matthew Golden, $100 cheaper at 5,600. So great value. These are our sleepers for week 1. And here's kind of the thought process behind it. So we're looking at high probability position groups. Below this, we do have a key for all of these column headers, and I'll throw it up a little bit higher in this post next week. But you see the teams, you see their opponent, you see whether they're home or away, and then based on the spread and the over-under, we have projected points for. So how many points are they going to score? Like Doug alluded to earlier in the show, there's so many of these in week 1. Like as you get into week 3 and everybody gets into conference play and all that stuff, there's going to be a lot less teams, which will create more value for this kind of data because there's just going to be so many beatdowns today. So you see the projected points against. So that's like the final score kind of projection there, 52-13 USC over Nevada. So that's kind of how you read that. And then you can see for this team, what's the SP plus offense? So that's the power rating from Bill Connolly of ESPN. Does a really good job at a holistic approach, including recruiting, transfers, all that stuff. So what's the talent on offense? USC is number 2 in the country, and Nevada's SP plus defense is number 90 in the country. So we'll use those for a couple weeks, and then we'll kind of lean eventually more on how is the defense against the pass, how is the defense against the rush, and that'll enable you to kind of pick out those. You see Kent State with the 117th pass defense, and you saw the results on the field, and UCF just able to kind of do whatever they wanted to do and overpower Kent State. You see Rice, against, and this goes back to one of our sleepers, Jonathan Brooks. Rice had the 104th defense against the rush last year. And then soon, these will be replaced by year-to-date data and all that stuff. But anything to add there? Is there anything I missed before we move along?
No.
4 minutes left, so we'll pick it up. You'll see a ton more there, obviously. And then we've got our shootouts of the week. Shootouts of the week are just games that are going to be close, or at least close-ish. So you're expecting your players to play all the way through the game. And again, there will be more of these as there are less blowouts. So you'll see these two charts even out over the season. But Western Kentucky against South Florida, with a projected final score of about 40-29, you're expecting your Western Kentucky wide receivers to play the full game there. And so that kind of stuff is great. And then you see, defense against the pass, South Florida last year, 124th. So loving any Western Kentucky, anything that you can get. But, if they're available in a DraftKings format or FanDuel, this is where you find your high probability players or high probability position groups like we talked about. So love that ability to just quickly get a look at those shootouts this week. And we kept it to about, at least someone scoring in the 30s and the other one scoring kind of close to the 30s. Not many of those this week. Doug, maybe you'll disagree, maybe you'll agree here. We've got our stack of the week. A stack is basically having a quarterback and receiver combo. Could be a quarterback and a tight end, of course, too. But best value, if you're looking to get the double points when they connect on a touchdown, which is always fun. Frank Harris at 7,100 to Joshua Cephas at 5,700, the UTSA stack of the week. Before we get to the DFS battle, Doug, anything to add there?
No, I like that stack a lot. I think Cephas is going to get plenty of looks, like you said, with the unknown of Clark there and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to debate that one, especially at the price for both of them.
Yeah. All right. So 2 minutes left. So we're going to get to our podcast battle. So we do this at the end of our weekly show. So we did these lineups on Wednesday. Matt cheated a little bit and did them afterwards, and also sent me not the best screenshot. So Matt loses on the screenshot, but maybe he'll win the battle. So we've got our lineups here. That's posted here. So we've kind of already gone over those, but I'll ask you, Doug, and I'll pull my favorite lineup up. I also posted this in the Discord. Hopefully we can all kind of win some money together. But upcoming, what's your favorite lineup that you have this week?
Of my DFS?
Yes.
Man, that's tough.
I'll go over mine real quick. Because my favorite is the night one, where I've got some of our sleepers on there, a lot of them actually. So Frank Harris is my quarterback. And then at running back, both, two of our sleepers there, LaDamian Webb, Kavorian Barnes, both listed as the starting running back there and should play the full game. Maybe we'll play the full game. We'll see. And then at receiver, I've got Jaron Bradley, Joshua Cephas, Matthew Golden. These are players you will not be able to get in your lineups together later on the year because their values will just go up. And then at flex, I've got Shady Clayton Johnson replacing Tyjae Spears at Tulane. And then my super flex is Michael Pratt. So I'm stoked about that one. I have had good ones and bad ones before. You never know how the game is going to play out. But last minute here on the show today, Doug, what's your favorite lineup that you have? Or is it this one on the screen?
I'm probably going to go with this one on the screen. We've mentioned a lot of these guys like Brown and Cobbs at receiver, Worthy at receiver, Johnson at running back. And of the TCU running backs, like I said earlier, I like Bailey more than I like Trey Sanders.
Yeah.
Trey Sanders to me is a school hopper, and I don't know what he's going to bring to the table for anybody. But I really like the Leary and Brown combination as well. We talked about the stacks, and that's a stack that I would this week probably put in the top 5 for me.
Yep. Well, I posted that my favorite one in the Discord, so snag it there. Maybe we can win some money together or lose together and get mad together. But so as we close up the show today, here's how things play out in terms of content creation. Sundays are the waiver wire gems. We'll get that out for y'all tomorrow, noting that there is a game Sunday night, there is a game Monday night. So it won't be inclusive of everyone, but then Tuesday, most weeks we put out our player rankings for the week. Wednesday, we do our live rankings and lineup prep podcast, go over news and notes and all that stuff. Thursday, we have our player props article submitted to Sporting News, and then DFS article drops on Fridays, and then we do this little show on Saturday morning. So I hope you guys have a great day and enjoy some college football and some brisket or whatever else you have going on. For Doug, Brian, we're out.
See you.